When my phone rang at 7:30 a.m., I already had a bad feeling. It was my boss, Mark. "Hey, Thomas," he said. "You up for a last-minute install? Big house. Client's throwing a huge party tonight. Wants the full setup done by this evening." I sat up in bed. "That's not much time, Mark." "I know, but he's paying double. Triple if we save his party." I rubbed my eyes. "Who is this guy?" Mark sighed. "Some guy named Jason. Super rich. Big ego. Thinks money solves everything." That should have been my first warning. By 9 o'clock, I was pulling into a ridiculous driveway outside a glass and stone mansion in the hills. Modern, flashy, and screaming, "I have more money than taste." A guy in white loafers opened the door before I even knocked. "You Thomas?" "Yeah, here for the AV install." "Cool, cool. You've got, what, like 6 hours? Think you can handle it?" His name was Jason, and everything about him screamed influencer energy, perfect teeth, gold chain, too much cologne, and attitude for days. "Should be enough if everything's ready to go," I said. "Great," he said, waving me in like he was doing me a favor. "Just don't screw it up. This party's kind of a big deal. Got people flying in. TikTok, YouTube models, real ones, not whatever's on your feed." I bit my tongue. The job? Brutal. Jason wanted a full audio setup. Indoor and outdoor speakers, subwoofers, DJ booth, lighting rig, all wired cleanly through concrete walls. And the gear he'd ordered was high-end but barely out of the box. Nothing was labeled, no instructions, no support line. And he kept hovering, breathing down my neck. "Shouldn't that go higher? You sure you know what you're doing? Do you guys test this stuff, or do we just hope for the best?" I gave him a tight smile every time, played the polite installer. But every word he said, every smug laugh, every sideways comment, I stored it. By hour 4, my shirt was soaked through, my hands were raw, and I'd already rewired the outdoor zone twice because he changed his mind. But I didn't snap, not yet, because here's the thing about people like Jason. They think you're beneath them until you show them otherwise. And I was almost ready to flip the switch. By the time I had the first subwoofer position and the cables routed cleanly through the wall, I was already counting the hours I wouldn't get paid for. The wiring plan he sent over was a mess. The drywall was newer than the blueprint, and the guy himself? He paced around barefoot in designer joggers like he owned the air, which technically he did. He'd already told me 3 times that the house cost just under $8 million, all cash. Every minute, a new flex. "You're not using staples for the in-wall cable, are you?" he asked, squinting down like he'd caught me committing a crime. "No," I said flatly. "Clips, tension balanced." He made a face like he didn't understand and hated that I did. "I just don't want it janky," he muttered. "I had a guy last year run wires to my beach place. Looked like spaghetti behind the TV. If that happens again, I swear to God." "It won't. You say that like you know something." I looked up from the floor. "I do." He stared for a second. Okay, installer guy. Calm confidence. I respect that. Installer guy. That's how he'd labeled me since the moment I stepped into his echoing marble entryway. I went back to my wiring. 2 seconds later, he was back. "You know, I built 3 startups by 29. Sold 1. Got sued. 1. Made double. What's your thing, man?" I kept working. "This is my thing." No, like, your thing. What's the play? You stacking cash for a food truck? Streaming setup? Crypto mining rig in your garage?" I didn't answer. He laughed. "Dude, come on. You can tell me. I like guys who hustle." "I'm not hustling," I said calmly. "I'm working." Jason blinked, like he couldn't compute the difference. "Anyway," he said, brushing past it, "make sure the setup can thump. Big night tomorrow. 100 guests. Top shelf everything. Let's just say, if the system flops, your company name's gonna hit the group chats like a virus." He laughed again, this sort of forced, arrogant bark. "You throwing a party or a performance review?" I asked. That caught him off guard. "You're funny." "Not really." His assistant, Molly, entered with a clipboard. She looked exhausted, probably on her third shift of the day. Jason snapped his fingers at her. "Molly, did you send the updated guest list to caterer?" "Yes," she said, not looking at him. "Did you remove the vegan DJ guy?" "He's a Grammy winner," she muttered. Jason shrugged. "So? He eats grass." He turned back to me. "Anyway, you guys wrap by tonight, right?" "I will." "Sweet. Just remember," he leaned in, dropping his voice, "you're not invisible. People will notice if you mess up." I held his stare. "Good." He smirked like he'd won something, like this was a game. But it wasn't. Every insult, every brag, every subtle dig about money, class, and where I stood in the room, it was fuel. Let them think I was just the installer. Let them talk. I wasn't here to prove him wrong. I was here to remind him. Some of us don't need to be loud to be powerful. Some of us just wait for the right moment to plug in. By noon the next day, we had the system humming, every sub calibrated, every speaker synced, the signal pads cleaner than a stainless steel kitchen. I even optimized the room acoustics without being asked, because that's what professionals do, even for people who don't deserve it. Jason hadn't shown his face all morning. His assistant, Molly, wandered through her phone glued to her ear, mouthing sorry more times than I could count. By 2 p.m., we were running final checks. The room was alive with sound, pure, balanced, precise. I stood in the center of the home theater, arms crossed, as the bass hit like velvet thunder. "Hey, Thomas?" Molly stepped in, awkward. "Jason wanted to talk to you upstairs." I followed the scent of cologne, an ego up the floating staircase. He was lounging on a designer's sectional, scrolling through his phone like he was trying to outswipe gravity. "Everything's done," I said. He nodded. "Cool." Silence. "So we'll need the remaining payment process today." I added. "That's standard per contract." Jason grinned without looking up. "Yeah, about that." I didn't say anything. "I had a guy check out your wiring downstairs," he said, finally putting his phone down. He said the wall cuts weren't clean. I blinked. "You had someone inspect my work?" "Just to be safe," he said, like he was doing me a favor. "And apparently you used, what was it, consumer-grade components for part of the mount?" "First of all, that's not true," I said, jaw tight. "Second, you approved every part. In writing." Jason shrugged. "That was before I got a second opinion." "Look, Thomas, I'm not trying to be difficult. I just can't pay full price for work I might have to redo." It was so fast, so casual, like flipping a light switch. "I've got 100 people coming tonight," he added. "You don't want bad word of mouth, do you?" There it was, the game. He thought he could dangle reputation like a carrot, like I'd panic, but I didn't. "You're refusing to pay," I said slowly, "because of feedback from someone who didn't install this?" He smirked. "I'm offering to pay 70%. Right now. No drama." "You're already getting more than what you paid for. Then consider the 30% a tip you didn't earn." He leaned back, so sure he'd won. I nodded once. No argument. No raised voice. "All right," I said. Jason tilted his head. "Wait, seriously? You said no drama. I respect that. See? I knew you were one of the good ones." He grinned. I smiled back. "You'll get your show." And with that, I turned around, calm as ever, and walked back downstairs, because what Jason didn't know, the show had already started. I called Mark that evening, after the last text from Jason came through. "Balance won't be paid until next month. Deal with it." Mark didn't even hesitate. "You're asking if you should pull it?" "Yeah." "Then do it." He signed the contract. No pay, no play. Flipped the switch. That was the confirmation I needed. The next afternoon, I pulled up to Jason's mansion like nothing had happened. The driveway was full, caterers, valet, early guests. His big night was in motion. Jason met me at the door, dressed in a linen blazer and holding a cocktail like he was on the cover of a lifestyle magazine. "Thomas," he said with a smirk, "wasn't expecting you. Just doing one final systems check." I replied calmly, want everything perfect. He waved me through, barely listening. Whatever, just don't take long. VIPs are showing up any minute. Inside, the custom media system was humming quietly, flawlessly. I walked past the guests and staff, straight to the control panel hidden behind the sound wall. My fingers moved carefully. First the amp, then the processor, then the master controller. Silent shutdown. Not a hard pull, just surgical. The lights on the system stayed on, just not the sound. Jason popped his head in as I was wrapping up. Everything sound good? I looked at him and smiled. Perfect. He nodded, clearly already focused on his spotlight moment. Appreciate it, man. I left with that same smile on my face and parked just far enough down the road to watch through the estate's glass panel lounge. By the time the party hit its peak, the music should have been bouncing off those high walls. Instead, nothing. Jason tapped the remote. Nothing. A second time. Still nothing. He motioned to his assistant, looking increasingly annoyed. A few guests started whispering. Someone even pulled out their phone, asking if the speakers were just for show. Jason was sweating now, storming into media room, pointing, waving, but no sound came. He looked like a man trying to scream underwater. I watched from the quiet comfort of my van, sandwich in hand. He had mocked my job, treated me like I was disposable. But tonight, he threw a party in silence, and I didn't even have to raise my voice. 2 full days went by. No texts, no calls, just radio silence from Jason. I figured he was too proud to admit what had happened, or too embarrassed to face it. But on the third morning, at exactly 7:42 a.m., my phone rang. A known number. I let it ring. Twice. 3 times. Then picked up. Thomas speaking. There was a pause. Then his voice came through. Tired, unsure. Hey, Thomas. It's Jason. Look, we had a bit of a situation the other night. The, party. I didn't say a word. Just let him talk. No music. Guests were confused. Awkward. Had to cut things early. I know we, didn't see eye to eye before, but any chance you can come take another look? I leaned back in my chair and let out a long breath. Sure, I said. I'll take a look. But this falls outside the original scope now. I'll need to update the invoice. Again, silence. Then, yeah, of course, whatever it takes. The revised invoice I sent was double what he owed me, plus a same-day call-out fee and a late payment inconvenience surcharge. I didn't even know if that was a real thing, but it sounded official enough to make the point. I see seat mark on the email, and he replied within minutes. You're being generous. I have tripled it. Go get what you deserve. And somehow, against all odds, Jason paid. In full. Within the hour. When I pulled up the property again, it was like déjà vu, but colder. The same oversized gates, the same marble steps, but this time, Jason wasn't smug. He wasn't cocky. He looked like a guy who got humbled in front of 150 people. Thomas, he said with a weak smile as I walked in. I gave him a nod. Jason. He moved aside, watching as I unpacked the gear. You know, he started, a few guests thought the no music thing was some kind of performance art. I looked at him flatly. Was it convincing? He didn't respond. I walked over to the main rack, flipped a few switches, plugged in the control unit, and tapped through the interface. Lights hummed to life. The speakers pulsed with a soft calibration tone. The entire system, which we'd spent 3 grueling days perfecting, came back online within 60 seconds. Perfect. Flawless. Just as we'd built it. Jason looked like he wanted to say something meaningful. Maybe even an apology. But instead, he just stood there, rubbing the back of his neck. So we good now, he asked. I zipped my case, slung it over my shoulder, and looked him in the eye. We're good. Just remember something. This system, it wasn't broken. You were. He flinched a little, then nodded. I walked out without shaking his hand. No shouting, no second chances, no drama, just a silent bill, paid in full, and a room full of reminders that you don't get to step on the people who build the things you brag about. Because respect, that's part of the price, too. As I drove away, I felt it, not pride, not smugness, just calm, quiet justice. And sometimes that's all you need.